Ladies, gentlemen and all variations thereupon. Today we're doing some glass engraving. Now, I've never done glass engraving before. This was my first attempt and it came out pretty okay. So I'm going to give you a beginner's guide to glass engraving, and hopefully you too will be able to produce some personalised glassware.
So there are two ways to put your design onto the glass. One way is to draw it on with a marker such as a Sharpie that's going to mark the glass, and the other way is to draw it onto a piece of paper first and then stick it onto the inside of the glass, which is the method that I've chosen here. In order to stop the glass from rolling around, we're going to put some blue tack down and then place the glass on top of that just to chock it in place, and then we're going to attach the image with some sticky tape on the inside. So the bit that we're going to use is one with a small rounded head. So we're going to trace along the outline of the image based on where we can see the lines going through the glass. What it will look like here is I'm not actually drawing along it, but that's only because of the angle of the camera relative to the image and relative to my eye. What I can see is that I'm tracing along the image itself. As always, it's always best to do slow, light pressure and do multiple passes if you need to make it deeper rather than pressing on too hard, especially with glass, as it can break. And we don't want to go too deep. Here I'm only scratching along the surface, so I'm not going too deep, but if you want to do some real details into it, you're going to have to take into account the thickness of the glass. We don't want it to go so deeply within that the glass is liable to shatter. Once the outline's been done, I can remove the image and do some extra detail freehand. Now, in order to do the shading, what I'm doing is I'm very lightly touching over the areas I want shaded. And basically I'm just going to do a technique very similar to cross-hatching that you might do with a pen or pencil. That is to say, I'm doing more engraving over areas I want to be darker. And the lettering I'm just going to do freehand. Now, when you're using a engraving tool, what you'll notice is because of the rotation, your tool will want to move in one direction more than the other. In my case, the engraving tool always wants to move upwards and to the right, so that's where I try and allow the tool to move as I engrave. It's always more difficult to do a curve than it is a straight line, so a lot of the lettering is pretty angular, but it sort of fits into the style I was going for.
And there we have it, a engraved glass, perfect to commemorate the birth of my niece, except I realised I misspelt the name. My brother and sister-in-law have decided that Nelly is spelled with an IE and I put a Y. So I'll have to re-engrave it, but I've decided to keep this in the video because this was my first attempt and I said it's going to be the beginner's guide. So this was a fairly easy build. The whole thing only took me about 45 minutes with filming to engrave. I reckon without filming it would have been half an hour. Half an hour to do an elephant, an aim and a date. So if you want to get yourself some personalised glassware, just get yourself an engraving tool and some glass. It's really easy to do and good fun little project to do in a one-day build.